Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to Behind the Veil, a show that provides insight into the world of weddings and events. I'm your host, Keith Willard. Welcome back. First thing I want to bring up is I want to say congratulations to our show because we won a telly. I'm just as flabbergasted as probably most of you are. We won a telly. So we actually won for unscripted online series. So congratulations to the show and to Marcy Gutenberg and to all of our previous guests and of course, Brooke Logan Stoner. So congratulations to everybody. Today, we're going to be talking about wedding extras. And what do I mean when I say wedding extras? Well, most weddings have kind of the big five: venue, catering, florals, photography, and entertainment. If you have the big five at your wedding, you have a party, right? So what other things are out there that are extra, that add to the overall feeling or vibe of the event or enhance the experience in some way? And is it worth it? Is it worth the money? So we're going to talk about that. And we have actually an owner. Her name is Amy Fisher of Frost 321, who I will introduce in just a second. But before we bring her on, let me introduce Marcy Gutenberg with an affair to remember by Marcy. Hi, Marcy.
Hi, Keith.
Yay. So congratulations. Right?
Very exciting.
Very exciting. And while we're congratulating each other, let me bring on Brooke Logan Stoner. Hello, beautiful.
Hi. I am extra.
So
congratulations, guys.
Right?
Congratulations, Brooke.
I know that it's a big deal. We want a telly. So wow.
Sounds great.
Right? It sounds great. I can't wait to get the statue, hold the statue. Maybe I'll do like what people do with the Oscars and put it in the bathroom or something.
I know, we're gonna go like to Marcy's house for a week, then mine for a week. And then you can keep it.
Right? Exactly. Oh my goodness. Well, so congratulations. And I'm just so thrilled with everything that we've been able to continue to do over the last 16 months. I mean, every single week we have a brand new topic and brand new guests that is just unheard of. So we don't ever take a break. Every Tuesday it's something new. And today is no different because today we're going to be talking about wedding extras. And I am so happy to introduce Amy Fisher with Frost 321, which is a nitrogen-based component. I don't even really how to describe it. I know that I like it and that I sell it and then I have it at a lot of my weddings. Amy, will you tell us a little bit of, first of all, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
And,
hi, Amy.
Hi.
Well, and also tell us a little bit about Frost 321. What is Frost 321?
Sure. First of all, the name Frost 321. 321 comes from negative 321 degrees Fahrenheit, which is the temperature we have to reach to be able to freeze our product. Now, we are an interactive mobile frozen cocktail and dessert experience. And therefore, the only way we can freeze alcohol is using liquid nitrogen.
Wow.
We make liquid nitrogen cocktails and ice cream. We start with a liquid base. It could be your favorite cocktail, like a margarita.
Right.
That we would use our lime sorbet, which would be our product that we would start with. And then we mix that into a mixing bowl along with the tequila. And then we blast it with our nitrogen, which gives the whole experience. And you get to see all the mist, and guests absolutely love it. They love taking pictures of it, doing, selfies and just videoing the whole process. It's a nice icebreaker. It's a lot of fun. It's engaging.
Well, I think I want to really point out something here because I don't think people really understood. So we all, I don't know about we all, but a lot of people put like a bottle of vodka in their freezer, right? Because it keeps it nice and cold, but it doesn't freeze because it has a much
I
lower.
have one right now.
Right? It's a much lower freezing point.
Yeah, 330.
Right? But
Exactly.
the fact, but having a nitrogen-based system allows you to do things like a Johnny Walker chocolate ice cream.
Exactly.
And not as a floater, but actually built into the ice cream itself. So it is an actual experience of it. It's so interesting and unique. I mean, I'm always everybody just loves it. FYI, every time we bring it to a wedding, everybody goes crazy over the Johnny Walker chocolate ice cream. What did we do? We had that fireball contraption that we did for one of the corporate events that went crazy because somebody put like a little hot peppers Tabasco with the fireball. It was amazing. It was amazing, but it's one of those things that I don't think a lot of people even realize is out there, and it's a possibility as an extra for a wedding.
Absolutely. You're exactly right, Keith. And you explained it very well. Because again, we're not, even though we're like a bar, we're not, we don't do single drinks.
Right.
We make everything in batches. So therefore, once again, we start in liquid form and then we pour the alcohol in, depending on what it is. Like Keith mentioned, we call it our wicked chocolate whiskey, which is one of the favorites.
Oh my God, it's so good.
So we're literally blending in the alcohol with our triple chocolate product, and the nitrogen, the bowl is spinning around. We're freezing it. Okay. So we're freezing the alcohol with the product, and we're getting all of the air out of it. So the end result is a very smooth, like gelato feel. There's no air in it. As an example, using the margarita, going back to that for a minute.
The Patron margarita.
If you order a frozen margarita in a restaurant or a bar, they put a bunch of ice in it. They're going to fluff it up, and it's served to you in a big glass. With ours, it's our lime sorbet mixed directly in with the tequila, and the alcohol equivalent of our 2 1.5 ounce scoops of margarita. Same alcohol is in that than is in your big diluted frozen margarita.
Really? You mean that little bitty cup with the 2 scoops has the same amount of alcohol content as the large margarita?
And that's why I always have 3.
Wow.
That's a big punch, huh?
Wow.
And that's why, particularly when we serve it like Patron, it is so smooth. And, we have to watch it sometimes because some people will come up and they'll have a couple, and some will come back for 4, 5, or 6, and you don't realize it. You just had 6 shots of liquor.
And then your boss is like, "You're going to get fired." No more.
Oh, well, but I mean, right? Oh, no. That, I mean, your product was absolutely incredible. Oh gosh, was actually absolutely incredible, because it was one of those things that when I saw it for the first time, I went, nobody has seen this before. And I know that people are going to have kind of an enhanced experience because of this. It's going to be totally worth the cost, the extra effort, the monies, etc., because it adds to the overall emotional value of the event. But so, and I don't mean to put it this way, but as an extra, how do you talk to your potential clients about the fact that, this is a product worth investing in because it will make that much of a difference in the overall event? Because I talk about this all the time about emotional value per dollar. Does what we spend money on actually going to make a difference? Favors suck. I hate favors, and I'm on the record. Yeah, once in a while I'm surprised by a really good favor, but most of the time 30% of those favors are left behind, and we're scooping them up, or the staff is taking them home, and you just wasted a whole shit ton of money on favors that nobody's going to use. And did it have did it add to the memory? Did it add to the experience? No.
Because I sell favors, I actually prefer to encourage them to buy like a menu or something that's going to enhance the table. I think it adds much more value for the guests to see, and it's a visual to see versus a favor. So I get what you're saying.
Yeah. Well, no, and I know, you sell a favor, but I just personally think that I think most favors, you already have this incredible dinner. It's so emotional. You get to see the bride and groom have their first dance. They're really into this. It's love, 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 love. And then you have a cookie on your plate, or, you have a 2 little chocolate balls in a little gold box. Okay. What was so special about this? Did I really?
Chocolate balls.
Unless you're going really, really over the top, it's not. I mean, the $2, $4 favor is not gonna stretch it. So I would rather see something less and put the money somewhere else, such as menus, or such as an interactive station like what Amy has is beautiful.
Yeah, like
It's
Frost
so much
321.
fun. It's exciting. It gives, your guests gather around.
Well, and it's new, it's different,
Yes.
and it's not something that you would be able to just randomly get from the hotel. The hotel's not going to have a tank of nitrogen available to, do this. Plus, it's like it has all this fluffiness comes up. It feels like a big mist is coming, and then of course you add on the LED signs and all this stuff, and it's amazing.
And the alcohol. I mean, who does? I've not seen. Nobody's seen that before.
Right, but I'm going to go back to the original piece, the original question that I was actually posing before I got off on my soapbox. How do you sell this as an extra to people? How do you convince them that this is something that is worth the investment?
Sure. No, and that's an excellent question, Keith. We call ourselves, we're an affordable luxury. All right. And
Ooh,
like
nice.
you're saying, we want to create a memory. We want that memorable experience that the guests are going to go home and say, oh my gosh, I had the most exciting, this liquid nitrogen. I mean, they try and explain it, and that's why they show their pictures and their video of it.
Right.
And how the taste of it. Again, our products, we created we worked with chefs to create all of our flavors. We have over 50 common flavors. We can create just about any flavor you want.
Wow.
It's endless what we can do.
Right.
But think of upping the scale, if you will, of a beautiful our strawberry sorbet floating in prosecco in a champagne glass. Is nice for an upscale wedding.
Well, hello.
Again, the wicked
Caught my ear.
I know. I'm like, you had me at prosecco.
the wicked chocolate whiskey. Let the groom have fun with his buddies.
Right.
Let him have a wicked chocolate whiskey bar, so that can be fun for him and his buddies. So there's just so many things that we can do to create the experience for the guests that they will be talking about it. And in fact, I just have to take a minute. The founder of Frost 321, her name is Rima, and she was an attorney. And she first experienced this 7 years ago at a wedding in France. And it was on the rooftop of a hotel. And she saw this liquid nitrogen and they're creating this. And she's like, oh my gosh. She couldn't stop thinking about it on the plane home. She actually quit being an attorney and developed Frost 321. So again,
Wow.
it's just
I mean,
so many people
that's
talk
awesome.
about it.
Your story is not too far off of this because you were in uniform security.
Well, yeah, back when I
mean,
was a little one.
Yes, I mean, right? I mean, you
Well,
were
yes.
in uniform
And-
security, and then you moved on, and then you were VP at oh gosh,
Yeah, FranPros, we're a
Fran-
franchise development company,
Right.
and we actually had reached out to Rima about franchising her concept. And we were so taken with it that we wanted one of our own.
So you were like, I'm done. I'm not going to work for these other people anymore. This is mine now. I'm gonna buy this.
Exactly. So
nice job.
And again, and there's so many things, like you said, Keith. Our LED bar allows us to customize any kind of setting, any kind of colors that you want. We can do an anagram, on the decal.
Yep.
Make it personalized.
Make it logoed. You do a great job with the logo.
We can do, upscale disposable ware if you want. There's all kinds of things that we can do.
Well,
we can even customize the disposable cups with their anagram on it.
Well, you know what I really like is I like the fact that you're self-contained. Because one of the issues that I have with extras, right? When we talk about extras and we have other people that are involved in the wedding outside of the big five, and I'll say for an example, I had a sword dancer, right? Balanced the sword on her head and she danced around. It was for a bar mitzvah. I don't know what they were thinking. Those 15-year-olds all looked like they were about to come out of their jeans, so to speak. Anyway, but oh no, it was a mess. Anyway,
disclosure. This is before me.
yeah, before you. But even somebody as that, there was extra effort that I had to then get into because I had to find her a changing room. I had to get her music. I had to get her involved with the DJ. Like, it added extra work into the system itself. and you are completely
not the kind of extra we're looking for.
I mean, right? You're completely self-contained, so I can literally put you anywhere that has an outlet.
That's exactly right. That's all we require is a standard 10 amp app. That's
Pretty
it.
sure I tried to
we
move
need
you a couple
about
times.
we need about 6 foot wide of space and about 8 feet deep, and that's it.
And I have to say that when you bring the tank, I love when the people's reaction when you bring this big silver nitrogen tank.
Scientific experiment.
People
they have no idea what's going on. Half the time they use it as a surprise. So like, what is going on?
Yeah, I love that, especially when you have it covered up and we're going to use it as a surprise later, and they'll see the big tank and they're like, oh, what the heck is that? So it not only adds to the overall vibe of actually eating this cool, interesting dessert that nobody's ever done before, but it also provides a little excitement of like, what is that? What's that going to be? There's a little buzz that happens. I mean, it ticks off all the boxes that I want for an extra when it comes to a wedding.
Absolutely. And, I know we've been focusing a lot on the cocktail hour, but I mean, we do also have some very nice spirited after dinner cocktails, Kahluas, White Russians, bourbon with butter pecan. And of course we have
frozen.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Everything's frozen. Everything's frozen.
Oh my God. Oh my God. That sounds amazing.
Right now.
We also have the dessert aspect. And of course we also do, regular ice cream.
Right.
You still get the whole experience without the spirits in them.
So you could be hired for a kid's birthday and have adult ice cream and kids ice cream?
Absolutely. Yes, we can. We do bar mitzvahs, bat mitzvahs, quinceaneras, anniversaries, birthdays, you name it. Any kind of party, we're there.
Everybody's eating vanilla ice cream, but for some reason the parents are getting a little loopy over there.
For $50, I can jump out of them.
I mean, oh my God, crazy.
And we do typically recommend, we always have 2 flavors. So we usually recommend having a sorbet and an ice cream product. Again, whether it's spirited or not spirited on either side. But your sorbet is going to cover any of those with a diet restriction, or maybe vegan or vegetarian or lactose intolerant. Right. So they have those options. And then, of course, you have the ice cream option. But yeah, there's so many things we can do. Bellinis. We can mix our peach sorbet with Pinot Grigio. We blend that together, and that's really good. I mean, it's.
So my question is that you when you bought this company originally as a franchise, so you bought the franchise. Yeah. Had you ever done anything like that before?
No.
So you just saw a product and you went, yeah, that's what I want. I want to do that.
Yes.
I mean, the balls on you, honey. Oh my God. I mean, seriously, anybody that's
not only do I want it, I want the whole state.
Right. You're like,
I
don't want to just sell Florida. I want all of Florida.
Yes.
I mean, wow. I mean, the idea that you saw a product that you love so much that you left basically everything that you knew and got into as a franchise owner and into a business was utilizing a product that not a lot of people even know about.
Correct. And with us not having a brick and mortar.
Yeah.
Again, we are strictly event based. So it's again, we get so much of our business through word of mouth, through referrals, because once people try us, they're like, oh my gosh, that was the best. And that was the most wonderful experience. Our guests are still talking about it.
When you first saw it and you're like, okay, this is a product I know is going to sell. Had you been in the world of events before? Like, did you do florals or help people party plan or anything that was in the event world?
Nope. Always been office. Always office. Always.
And so as a newbie,
that makes sense. Office, booze,
right? Yeah. Office.
The whole flowers
drinking. Yeah. But, as a newbie coming into the event industry, what were your initial thoughts just in general? Like what was one of the things that kind of surprised you that you didn't realize was a thing in the world of events?
Well, that's an interesting question, Keith. I need to think how I want to answer that, because when I first saw this, because we flew to, my partner and I, we went to Texas to actually see this, because to describe it is one thing, but to see it and experience, well, you guys know, it's a whole different thing.
It's a whole different experience. Yes, yes, yes.
And I just remember sitting there and thinking, how cool is this? And I love meeting people. I always have. I love being around people, and I'm a people person. So I just kind of felt, you know what? It takes a lot of networking. You've got to get involved with these groups, which again, NACE was the first group I got involved in.
Right.
And, met you and Marcy, and you were wonderful people. And, next thing I know, I'm on the board.
Yeah, we're good at that.
That happens.
Yeah.
But
It's funny.
the warm reception that I received from the event industry, from everybody, is just so, it just makes me feel so good inside. I mean, anybody that I talk to, it's like, oh my gosh, wow, really? That's what you do? Tell me more about that.
Right.
So,
well, the reason I asked is because, everybody's been talking about pivoting, right, recently, and a lot of people are having to change their lifestyles in many ways. Sometimes it's about their job or their career or their direction. And I think that you provide a unique, have a unique view on this, because you just did it. And you left what you kind of knew before and jumped into a whole new community and a whole new world without a lot of I guess, understanding of what was really out there.
That is true. And that's why, again, joining the NACE organization was so helpful for me. And of course, I had the support and still have the support from corporate, but it's really the industry itself that's helped me tremendously.
So what kind of advice would you give somebody that's out there that, is looking at, obviously COVID has ravaged everybody. They want to change. They want to take more control of their life. They don't want to be, behooved to somebody else, to a corporation. And then they said, you know what? I want to go do something for myself. I'm going to be my own boss. What kind of advice would you give yourself now, looking back?
Oh gosh.
I'm
one that likes to dive in the deep end of the pool. I've always been that way. I mean, I jumped out of an airplane when I was 18 years old, went skydiving. I'm just, so I'm
so you're
kind of
saying
one of those,
seek therapy.
Once you get your arms wrapped around it, just dive in the deep end of the pool. You're going to be just fine.
So in other words, don't half-ass it.
Right.
Don't half-ass it.
Just go for it.
Because, and I feel like that I agree with you 100% when it comes into new business. When I finally decided to do Keith Willard events, I mean, I had to dive in fully. I couldn't do part and part because my attention was split between, my personal business and what my corporate business was. And that was just a little too hard to go which way to go. But, but there are a lot of people that are scared because they're like, well, what happens if it fails? It's like, well, it fails. I mean,
I know if it does, you move on, but
because there are no, guarantees in this life. And you may be working for a corporation and COVID hits and it shuts down everything. So, follow your dream.
Absolutely. Right? Yep.
Oh my goodness.
I totally agree.
But did you have to go back? I mean, because you went to Texas to see this product, right?
Yes.
And did you then have to learn about nitrogen? Did you have to get any special training, safety? Did you have to get any certifications? Or is this kind of like one of those, like, here's a great big jug of nitrogen that
no.
freeze your hand off and,
Yeah, no. We went through training through corporate, and they explained everything about the nitrogen and how it works, and not to be afraid of it. Nobody can get hurt from it. And again, our
I beg to
way
differ. There's a couple of Sylvester Stallone movies out there where somebody's been frozen in nitrogen and he just pushes them over and they break into a million pieces.
Oh,
So
my
I'm just,
goodness. Come on, Dr. Freeze. Keith Willard.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. Which I do want to quickly mention
Yeah.
that our product is very safe because we spin all of the nitrogen out of the product, so no one is ingesting the nitrogen.
Oh,
There,
I didn't even think about that, by the way.
well, there a couple years ago, it was very popular. Have you ever heard of dragon's breath, where kids would eat cereal and then they would
Or popcorn.
ingest nitrogen and start, blowing the nitrogen out of their nose and their mouth.
What?
Not good. Yeah.
Kids are stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah, Burke, I know.
But no, there were places offering this. And we use the nitrogen just strictly as a freezing agent. It is spun out completely. So when we put that cup up there, the nitrogen is completely gone. So it is very safe.
Well, anytime somebody says spun out, I always think of somebody going crazy. So, when you're saying spun out, I'm like, oh, she is so spun out. Okay.
but no, we went through, we were trained completely by corporate on how to make the product, how to network. I mean, everything from A to Z.
Wow.
And that's the benefit of a franchise, by the way. And that is helpful if you are going to get out of the corporate world or you're going to pivot into a whole new experience.
Right.
A franchise is one of the safest ways to go because they've already done it. They've proved it. They worked out all the kinks, if you will.
Yeah.
So
being a franchise owner means what, though? What do you own?
I'm in business for myself.
Okay.
And I pay a royalty fee to the franchisor. That's any franchise.
Right.
Okay. So the franchisor continues research and development. They create other products. I know right now, the corporate is working on different types of products that we can incorporate into our Frost 321 experience. So
products I know right.
And I just did my own boo-boo. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
But but you own your franchise in Florida. Is it for a specific amount of time?
10 years.
10 years. And then
it would renew another 10. Yes.
Okay. And do they get to raise the price on you like they do rooms when they run out of rooms? Like, if it gets really super popular, like can they raise that, or is that part of the negotiation, the original negotiation?
No, I don't think that they would raise it because again, we're just it's a steady royalty. That's where they earn their money.
Okay.
So they take a certain percentage of all of our sales.
So they were probably greedy enough up front to be like, listen.
Because I'm just thinking that if you're one of these wedding professionals that are out there and you're interested in starting an extra business, I said, what we had a whole show about side hustles, right? I feel like this is could be a possibility for somebody to do it as a side hustle. I mean, I feel like this is probably more intense than that, but still, the fact that you went out and learned what it took in order to be a franchisee. How much risk did you end up having to take? Like, did you really need to bet on yourself and say, this investment will definitely pay for itself over the long run?
Oh, I felt very confident with this one.
Yeah.
Very confident. Yeah. There's, most people, when they think of a franchise, they think of restaurants.
Yeah.
That's pretty typical.
Right.
It can take 3, 4, 5, 6 years before you get your initial investment back.
Right.
With this, it's going to be much quicker.
Well, then, so then all of a sudden COVID hits. Right.
Yeah.
So you're a brand new franchisee. You just bought the rights to the Frost 321 for the state of Florida.
Yeah.
Your first year seemed to be going really good because I had you at like 4 of my events, or 4 or 5 of my events, and I know I wasn't it. Things are trucking along, and then all of a sudden COVID hits. What happens? What happens to the franchise?
Yeah, well, obviously the franchise is still there. The investment was made, so we hunkered down. My partner and I, we did what we had to do to stay afloat, stay abreast.
Right.
We had just landed, by the way, the Orange County Convention Center in Orlando.
What does that mean?
Well, that means
Wow.
we had been working on a year and a half getting into the Orlando Convention Center.
Right.
Orange County Convention Center.
Oh, and they finally said yes.
And they finally got us on their menu. We had booked 2 events starting in March.
Oh my God.
2020.
No.
And we were doing an event on that Wednesday. I think it was the 3rd of March. We had our first event at the convention center on Friday.
Yep.
And Thursday we got the phone call. Sorry, it's being canceled. Then the next one, which was scheduled for the 14th, was canceled.
Well,
so that was disheartening. But you know what? The exciting news is, because I was just at the Orlando NACE meeting, is that our contact with the convention center had been furloughed. He is now back. In fact, today's his first day back.
Right.
Oh, wow.
But I met with their social director. She was there. And again, she was very instrumental in helping us get in to do our presentation and let them experience our products and et cetera, et cetera. And so anyway, I know we're going to start doing events there eventually, corporate events, needless to say.
Marcy, you got anything?
I just think that's fantastic. I mean, that is a huge convention center.
It's huge.
I know.
You literally need roller skates to get from one end to the other, and then they have a whole nother building.
Well, but that's
exactly.
But I'm dipping into your experience, because I'm sure there are people out there that are looking at this and going, "Oh my goodness, well, if she can do it, I can do it."
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like,
yes. And getting back to your question, because I got off track there talking about the convention center, because needless to say, that's
that never
an exciting
happens
contract
here.
to talk about.
That never happens on this show. Never.
But no, seriously, I thought to myself, you know what? Again, so many people in the industry have been furloughed. They're gone. They've pivoted to new careers. So I feel like we're starting over again, because we were making all those contacts and we met, so many wonderful people from, the hotels to the venues to the event planners. And you know what? You just got to pull yourself up by the bootstraps and you start doing it again.
Right.
And I know it's going to start happening again. And I just feel very confident we're just going to be on the map everywhere.
So a question for you is, if you were looking at it because obviously when you saw this product, you knew it was worth investing. You knew that this was going to be, that product that people go, wow, that's an it factor for us. Where's my brain? So if you were looking at this as a third party, right, looking at a wedding, and we talk about extras, other things that we add to the event to add to the experience. Are there other things that you have seen that, maybe aren't Frost 321, obviously, but something that you said, you know what, I feel like that would be an interesting thing to add to a wedding? What are the parameters that somebody should be thinking about when they think about adding something different to their wedding? Because it's going to increase the budget. It will, And so my question, and to everybody, I guess, on the panel, is what is that determining factor? What, how? Like I said, when I talk to my clients, I talk about emotional value per dollar. So I'm a big fan of, like, is it really going to make that big of a difference between, somebody having a wow moment or somebody having an oh my God moment, right?
It's going to matter, because something like that is something that's unique. It's different. It's not the norm. And that's something everyone's going to remember.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We've had 4 or 5 of our events, and I love it. Like, every time I see her comment, I'm like, I get so excited. Because I know I'm going to get a little buzz too, but hey, listen.
But I mean, I've had people
about much.
But I've had people like want to hire fire dancers, which went off beautifully. I've had people. I have a wedding that's looking at having a mermaid as guests arrive, and sitting in a big seed chair, not, and it's going to be down actually in the keys. So it kind of makes sense. I'm trying to figure out how to make it feel like it was meant to be there without being too kitschy.
Santa with you.
Right. Exactly. Well, it is going to feel very much like that actually. And it's during the holidays too. But what would you say, and it's probably part of your sales technique, Amy, it's like, what do you say to a client that says, this is worth it? You want to book this because it really will add to the overall enjoyment of your guests from start to finish.
Well, again, because I know you're talking a lot to brides and stuff, but we also, I present us to, the hotels and the venues because we work as part of the catering team. So you can also hire us through the hotel or the venue.
Yeah.
We, again, venues like us because we do not provide the alcohol. The alcohol is provided by the venue or the client or the hotel.
Right.
So the hotels like us for that reason, but also, like you said, Keith, they don't have liquid nitrogen back in the kitchen, okay, to make this whole experience.
Right.
Everyone is going to eat and drink at a wedding. So why not, again, create that memorable moment that they can talk about that they are not going to experience anywhere else?
Sold. Well, one of the things that we did at a recent wedding, and this was definitely an extra, but it was part of the floral, is that we had these ribbons all tied into this canopy that went above the ceremony space. I mean, there was no way I could have been able to know now or then, what an effect it was going to have on people because of the sound, because it just had this cool wave sound because of all the ribbons flapping in the wind. And then we used those ribbons, and then people signed them and put their well wishes, and then we had those sewn into a blanket that we then sent to the client. So it was like it added, so that extra expense, I said, that's worth it because it added to the memory of the event. It gave it a really special kind of coolness to it. And they got something completely unique at the end of it as a gift to themselves. And so to me, I'm like, oh, that is a good wedding extra. Awesome.
Absolutely. And we were at that wedding. Thank you, Keith. And
that's right.
That was amazing.
Keith's whole idea was
amazing what you did.
Oh, I don't know, Brooke. Was it Brooke? But that's what I'm talking about. And weddings in general can get really out of hand when we're talking about finances and budgets and stuff. And so I'm always really particular about making sure that people are making wise choices and that they're working with reputable people, and that, they don't get too caught up into the emotional selling of the thing and really think it out. Like, is this really going to be everything that they're telling us it's going to be? And to be honest, not a lot of people are going to be able to pull off the promise like you can, because you can promise it. Like, believe me, nobody's seen this before. It'll be amazing. It'll be delicious. People are going to have an amazing time. And then they do,
Yes.
What if you're one of these other vendors that says, oh, I have this photo booth mirror that nobody's seen before, and it's super cool, and your guests are going to love it. And then ends up just being another photo booth. And it's, was it worth the extra money? And I think that's where I was kind of going with today's show a little bit is, how do you know when that wedding extra is worth it? And, what are the possibilities? So that's my next question to everybody. What is a wedding extra that you've seen that you thought that's cool? I want to see that.
I'm gonna start with. I think that, I said it once before. I think it's all about the layers, and it's the layers upon layers, and walking into a room, being wowed, walking into, seeing something in the corner of the room and being, oh, what is going on over there? Having those little things, those little details that are so unusual are the things that people are going to walk away and take with them and remember. You have something beautiful at your table, whether it's a table number or, menu card, or you have, some interactive station like the Frost 321,
right,
where people are constantly being, their attention is taken from one location to the next location and the next location. Those are the things that people remember. You know, you can go to an event and have the same chicken dinner every single Saturday night, but if those are the things that people will remember.
Well, so we went to an event a couple of years ago thrown by Party Slate, and they had the coolest little idea there. They had a guy sitting behind an old-fashioned typewriter, and there were little slips of paper, and he basically said, "Give me 3 words." Right? It didn't matter what the words were. He's like, "Just give me 3 words." You know that. And you would just come up with 3 words. And I think there was some like reference to 3 words that represent you, or, you know, 3 words that mean something to you. And he would write a poem right there that was like 6 lines, and they were amazing. Like people were awestruck by this. And so he would take the paper, he'd look at it, he'd create the poem, type it out on the old-timey typewriter, which sounded really cool. And then he would hand it to you and then sign the back of it. It was cool. And I thought, cool. Right? And I thought, isn't that an interesting and unique extra that I wouldn't have seen before? I mean, we just did a wedding down in the Keys where one of the extras was the coconut bar, where they took a machete, cut off the top of the coconut, added some rum, and now you've got, you know, this cool wedding extra. Now, first of all, me personally, I'm never going to drink out of a coconut. That's never going to happen. No way. No, gross. Sorry.
Marcy, remember this conversation in 60 days.
I will.
Remember this conversation in 60 days.
It is just not for me. I'm sorry. Something drops out off a tree because it's gotten too ripe and it needs to fall, and now you're going to cut it and drink out of it. Ugh. Anyway, not my thing.
It's not a banana, dear.
I know. but people loved it. They had the best time visually. I would have probably paid for less coconuts because I think she paid for like one for everybody. And I think, you know, about 30% took advantage of it. But that's also part of knowing, like, you know, how much extra do you really need to include in your pricing? I mean, that's what I'm talking about. Have you guys seen other things like that you went, oh, I really love that idea. I need to make sure.
A couple of ours that we've done.
Yeah.
The Biltmore, the cigar on the wall behind it, the bourbon.
Yes.
Yeah, that was super unique. And my first time seeing something like that.
Yeah. So what?
I could have done without the lanterns and the police at the Pelican at one time, but that was different.
That was because the police were called on us, not because it was an extra.
And there's one more. There was something else too. The colors. Yes. So
the cigar box wall she's talking about. The groom loves cigars and is a part owner of a cigar shop. So he has all the really amazing over-the-top cool boxes that come from these cigars. And he had this huge 10-foot by 10-foot backdrop where they used all these cigar boxes and actual cigar boxes that they would open. And inside them, they had little surprises. So people could like randomly go pick a box and they would be like a cigar or a cutter or something in there.
Very cute.
It was cool.
Yeah,
it was really, really, really cool.
Neat.
So, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Is there another unique kind of something out there that maybe somebody watching is like, oh, I wish I could see that?
I've seen table number where people they pick up their place cards, their seating cards.
Yeah.
And it's actually next to a vignette of something in the shape of, say, you know, if you have a pelican or something, or some kind of a bird or insect or something like butterflies. And and then people can then, not only do they have a place to pick up their place cards, but then they also have the backdrop that could be used as an their own personal photo, a photo area.
Okay.
Which is very cute.
So recently, and this was kind of a big deal. And Brooke, are you messing with a straw?
No, I'm like, stop picking on me. I'm like,
anyway,
and he keeps muting and unmuting.
I do, because I can hear
you're right, you're not that far.
It's driving me crazy. Anyway, so it was really big for a while. They did those mosaics, and then what they would do is they would tint your background a slightly different color, and then they would assign you a number on this huge board. And so you would take your little photo and they would say, okay, your square is A3. And you would go and stick it on A3. And once everybody put their photos on it, you would pull back and it was a picture of the couple.
Oh, wow.
Very
Clever.
cute.
That's
was
voodoo and
very
witchcraft.
cool.
I
That's
love
very
that.
clever.
That's
it was
great.
super clever, super expensive, but
I
super
bet.
clever, just FYI. But, you know, I mean, there's all these cool, unique, really totally over the top kind of wedding extras that I think that every bride is out there really looking to find that one thing that is going to set their wedding apart. I mean, it is one thing to try to outdo other people's florals or food or location, but to really use your imagination to find that one thing that both says, you know, you as a couple, but also a completely new experience is really kind of the big,
Like a glass bottom boat, perhaps.
like a glass bottom boat. Yeah, I know. I did my wedding on a glass bottom boat because, you know, why not? Well,
I'm not the problem here.
But that's the thing. I mean, you know, every couple is different. And
right.
the whole point of doing any kind of event where you're having guests there is to present something about you two to your guests.
Right.
You know, what are you two as a couple about? And, you know, you got to, I mean, honestly, as a professionals, we all have
Right.
to listen to our clients and take into account that this is not about any one of us. This is about the couple that's coming in to plan something different and unique to them.
Yeah, and I think that I will hope that people get away from what is traditional and do some more fun activities, because it's going to be those cheeky fun activities that really set the tone. All right, so that's our 45 minutes. So I'm going to actually show a commercial by Frost 321 that gives you a full idea of what they do, and then we'll be right back with After the Veil. Amy, you're going to stick with us, yeah, for After the Veil?
Absolutely.
All right, guys, we'll be back in exactly 1 minute. Now I want to be at that party.
That was
was
an
a fun
awesome app.
I love that. I mean,
First
it
time
really,
I've seen it.
right? I really gave you a really good sense. And now, anybody that's listening to us on the podcast, sorry that you didn't get to see it. You could actually go over to the YouTube channel and check it out, or go to frost321.com and check out the video that we just shown. It's a minute video. It really does a lot as far as explaining, you know, visually what you guys do. I find it fascinating that those little tiny things of ice cream have the same amount of alcohol as
I know. Well, you know, the thing of it is, Keith, when you buy ice cream, okay, there's a lot of air in it. So that's why, again, because we're using the nitrogen to spin the air out of it and freeze it, that's why it is such a tiny scoop. But yeah,
it's denser.
Equivalent.
Yeah.
Is it denser?
Yeah, it is. It is denser because there's no air in it.
Well,
but like I said, the texture is silky, like a gelato, and of course, there's no ice crystals or anything like that in there. So,
well, what I have to tell you, it's really delicious. It's one of the creamiest ice creams I've ever had. You know, even without the alcohol, it's like so creamy and delicious, and just, oh my God, it's a fantastic product. So welcome to After the Veil. This is just our time to shoot the shit, so to speak, and let not that we don't let our opinions be known, but well, there you go. So I have to say, first of all, I'm so excited about the fact that we won a telly. I mean, I didn't even know what a telly really was until I got it, and I was like, wow, we won a telly. Oh my God. So
you know what? Can you tell everybody what it is? Because I think that some people still don't know what a telly is.
So telly is an award that's been around for like, I think 40 years, that honors excellence in the visual media that we are in. So they not only just do commercials and TV and movies, but they also include online content as well. So they were really the first that would like look at a Kardashian kind of show and go, is there excellence in how they shoot that, you know, and how they put that together? and they gave it to us. So, which I find really fascinating, because again, we won for online non-scripted content, which I think is freaking amazing, because we get on here every week and we talk, we talk about the event world, and you would think that we would be running out of ideas or directions, but I swear our schedule is booked through August now.
Well, and now that events are picking back up, we will have that much more to bring back to the
talk
table.
about.
Oh yeah. Because next week we actually have Eddie from Timeline Genius, who is the owner of Timeline Genius. He's going to be coming on next week. And if you're an event planner out there and you need help putting together a timeline, I'm just saying, totally worth it, man. It's seconds compared to having to go through your Excel spreadsheet.
Both of us are certified, I believe, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, okay. So I want to bring something up. I want to talk about something that has been bothering the F out of me. Do you guys feel like people are meaner than ever after the pandemic?
Mm-hmm.
Because all I see on TV are these poor flight attendants getting punched in the mouth, and people acting like total turds. What is going on in the world that everybody, it's almost like everybody forgot what it was like to be, there's Brooke, what it was like to be civil to each other.
It honestly, I have had days where it just literally is breaking my heart how mean and how cruel people can be in our world right now. That they're not, especially after step A and then getting back into the world.
Yes.
That blows my mind. I would think you would want to be nicer.
Well, I think what happened is people forgot how to talk to each other because they were stuck in a house with like 4 or 5 people, and right. And they say that you're nastiest to the people you love the most. So here you are in an environment where you can be as nasty as you want, and you forgot to be corrected that you were being a dingus.
Yeah,
literally.
Right. Exactly. Because I don't know if you guys have experienced it personally. I've been very lucky. I've seen this. I've heard other people talking to each other like that, but it hasn't happened particularly in my life. But just feel like people are just ruder than usual. Does anybody else get that at all?
I've seen that.
And he's like, no, everybody likes ice cream and alcohol. No.
And I'm over here like, yeah, I've seen a bunch of dicks since last year. Like, hey.
Exactly.
I've always said, if you can't be nice to people, just don't be a dick.
Yeah. Exactly. Nobody wants to be a Richard. But I feel like we've forgotten how to be civil to each other, and not us individually, but as a society in general. We can all have differing points of view of politics and religion and all these other things that make us unique because of what we believe in, but it doesn't mean I get to treat you badly because of what you believe in. You're still a human being, for God's sakes, and you're still an American.
Thank you for that. Yeah.
Well, and again, I don't want to bring up politics or talk politics, but I think it started with the last election before this one. I
have to tell you,
COVID, it's just gone downhill.
Well, and I have to say, I brought that up actually to my mom, and because obviously I have my particular political direction, and she's like, this is no different than what has happened in the past. She goes, if you look at the politics in the 1970s, the 1950s, the 1920s, there were presidential races where candidates were being poisoned. Did you know that? In American history, there is an actual race where somebody was charged with trying to poison one of the other candidates. So I kind of go, well, that was our founding fathers, and they they were jerks to each other. And I just think we kind of go through wave patterns. I think it gets to a point that everybody is just so tired of the meanness and angriness that it reverts to a more happy place.
Let's not talking about the
also
guns, JFK mafia kind of thing, like
Yeah.
CIA.
Well, I mean, I've just always
Guns are a
supported
thing.
our president, whether I believe
Whether
that
you believe-
president or I've always been
100%.
supportive.
Yeah.
And
100%, regardless
to
of who
see
who
what
was it.
has been going on and what was going on, it was
Boggled my
boggling
mind.
I mean, I did want to unfriend some people on Facebook. I didn't, but I did. I wanted to, just because they were
I
really
did.
pounding it home. And it's just like, people, come on.
And it wasn't
Get
about
life.
when I did what I did. It wasn't about a certain side of the party you might have leaned towards or were a champion for. It was the stupid things that came out of your ignorant mouth that had nothing to do with pick a side. It was just that, and that's why I got rid of some people.
I think there's a
'Cause
lot
I'm just
of
like, again, don't be a dick.
Right.
I think
Right.
there's a lot of mean-spiritedness because I think because of the social media. I think that plays a big role.
Mhm.
People can hide behind
Wow.
a screen
Yeah.
and write what they want, and I
The
see
more
it a
innocence.
lot. I mean, I see, whether or not you're on one side or the other, there doesn't need to be such animosity or hatred for one another.
Yeah.
I think whether you talk politics or you don't talk politics, I think that you can show if you're feeling, but you don't need to say one group is bad and the other one, you're good. This one's bad.
Yeah. I
You
feel
know,
like we forgot how to be respectful of each
Human
other.
decency.
Yes.
Thank you. Human decency and respect. Like,
I remember when I took over as executive director of this HIV not for profit in Dallas when I was much younger. It was in my 20s, and I got my very first death threat, which came in the mail. It was all like crazy, and it's like, you're all sinners, you're all gonna die, and blah blah blah. And I was like so upset at the fact that I got this, and somebody else in the office was like, no, congratulations, you're no longer a virgin, we've all gotten them. I was like, what?
Oh, wow.
It's very sad. I mean, yeah, that's just the way it is.
And so
people don't have that.
Exactly. But so I don't feel like social media actually did anything except make it quicker.
also,
It's
medication
more
for that.
enhanced. Because
those-
you're right. I mean, I got death threats back when I was in high school. I would get death threats because of my religious belief. And, I mean, so.
Amy's like, I've never been threatened like
And I'm
that.
like, I've been threatened.
But you learn how to push away the crazy a little bit and see the better side of it. But we are actually, and we're about to wrap this up, but we actually are about to be on the downslide of human. So humanity is no longer increasing in numbers. We're starting to decrease. And they're saying that they are going to show a significant decrease over the next couple of decades by up to 30% less people.
Wow.
Because people aren't having as many kids. Or they're having them later. So, now that we're living longer, people are waiting until their 30s to, get married, to have kids. They're just waiting. And instead of trying to do 2 or 3 or 4 kids, they're having one. So they're not replacing themselves. And so I find it really fascinating that I was reading this article the other day, and I'm like, okay, so not only do we need to learn how to respect each other more in the future, but there's going to be less of us. So it's going to be even more important.
Get off the little red wagon, honey.
Yeah, right. Oh my goodness. But one thing I will say is that I'm glad that I'm in this industry and what we do. I mean, honestly, come on, Amy. How many times have you opened up your night, Frost 321 and had somebody try their what was the tequila? Not tequila. It was vodka, like lemon sorbet or something like that. It was, I forget what you call it. I think you call it electric lemonade or something. It was like watching this person's face.
She ever makes a lemon drop, that's the end of my job.
Oh.
I'm calling in sick.
You know, I mean, and look at like Marcy, look what you get to do, you know, and look what Brooke and I get to do. I mean, we get to do just the most fun things in this life. And I just feel like, you know, we've got it good on so many levels. And as long as we can keep COVID, you know, back.
Hashtag blessed and highly favored. I mean,
yeah, I feel like we're gonna
so grateful, super humble, believe it or not, I am.
Yeah, I feel like in 6 months to a year, you're really gonna see a lot of this level out, and we're gonna get back to the world of hugging. I think that's probably the big thing. People needed to be hugged.
Yes.
We needed hugs. And I think that's really come about. So, and by the way, anybody watching, NACE conference is at the end of July, beginning of August, so July 31st through August 4th. It's at the Bellagio in Las Vegas. 3 of us are going. Whoop, whoop. So if you're interested in being a part of NACE, go to nace.net to check it out. And if you want to go to the conference, sign up before NACE and then come out to the conference because it's going to be a lot of fun out in Vegas. So we finally get to be face to face. For that, this week we're done. Yay!
All right, thanks again, Keith, for having me on. I truly enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun.
No worries. Don't sign off yet. So thank you again, Amy Fisher with Frost 321. Of course, always Marcy Gutenberg with An Affair to Remember by Marcy, the always gorgeous Brooke Logan Stoner. I'm your host, Keith Willard. Next week, we have Eddie, the owner of Timeline Genius, is going to be on our show. So be back here next Tuesday at 2 o'clock. And until then, say bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.